Today, first with GOP leader Kevin McCarthy.
Good morning. Glad to see that there are more reporters here than there were referees actually watching the play on the field in the Superdome Sunday. It's going to take me a while to get over that, but appreciate all of you coming out. And we just left our weekly conference meeting, and clearly our members are focused on working to reopen the government and also securing our nation's border. I was really glad that the president went and addressed the nation and brought forward yet another proposal to do both, to both get the government reopened and to make sure that we can secure our border at the same time. Those have been the main two objectives all along throughout this shutdown. We've seen on the Democrat side not one single attempt to put a counteroffer on the table. And so now if you watched on Saturday, the president didn't go to the microphones until 4:07 p.m. to address the nation. At 4 o'clock p.m., 7 minutes prior to President Trump even walking up to the podium, at 4 o'clock, Nancy Pelosi put out a statement rejecting the president's offer as, quote, a non-starter. She literally rejected an offer that hadn't even been presented to the nation for at least another 7 minutes. That shows you how unserious she is. She is not serious about solving this crisis. She's not serious about reopening the government. She's not serious about solving the crisis at the border. And so that was on full display Saturday when she literally came out and rejected an offer 7 minutes before it was even presented. And in her statement, she actually said that some of the things that were in that offer were things that had previously been rejected. All three of the meetings that I've been to in the Situation Room with the president and all of our top leadership, not once did Nancy Pelosi try to put DACA on the table. President Trump did. President Trump, on multiple occasions, has put different alternatives on the table to try to jumpstart negotiations so that we can reopen government and secure our border. Not one time has Nancy Pelosi come forward with an alternative, and yet you saw on display Saturday, she rejected an offer before it was even presented. So it's time for Nancy Pelosi to get serious about wanting to help those workers who deserve to get paid. In fact, last week we had a vote on the House floor. The Republican motion to recommit would have paid all federal workers through January 15th. Everybody who's been working without pay would have been paid under our proposal that was voted on the House floor. And every single Republican voted yes. Only 6 Democrats voted yes on that proposal. So to any Democrat who says that they want federal workers to get paid, ask them why they voted against paying all federal workers through January 15th for the work that they've already done. This is serious. We've been serious about putting options on the table. President Trump has put yet another credible offer on the table to reopen government and secure the border. It'll be voted on by the Senate. I hope they're able to get to 60 votes on a proposal that achieves all those objectives and send it over to the House so we can finally resolve this crisis.
President Trump has offered the Democrats a very reasonable proposal. It is his fourth proposal to the Democrats. It secures the border, it fixes immigration issues, and it reopens the government. While Speaker Pelosi and Leader Schumer said no before even hearing the offer, it's interesting to watch Democrats break with their leadership. The chairman of Agriculture Committee, Colin Peterson, give Trump the money. Freshman Elise Slotkin, get in the damn room. Absolutely willing to talk about more fencing, more drones, technology, and border agents. Antonio Delgado, on Trump DACA wall deal. There is common ground. We have to secure our borders. What is going on in D.C. is disgusting. It's ugly. It's cold, and it's dark. Rep. Ben McAdams, let's do it already and follow through on strong border security and immigration reform, including a permanent fix for DACA. Is it only Speaker Pelosi who's not listening to her own conference? You know, Speaker Pelosi holds the record for the longest speech ever given in the House chambers. And it wasn't given 10 years ago, just a short time ago, a year ago. And it was on one topic, a topic they actually shut the government down over, DACA. Is it no longer important to the Democrats? Is it no longer important to open up the government? When they had an opportunity last week to actually pay the workers, the 800,000 workers, and still negotiate, they said no. I think it's time Speaker Pelosi begins to listen to her own conference. Let's solve this problem. There's a reasonable proposal on the table. Unlike the Democrats who have never offered any proposal to solve the solution, the president has just offered the fourth, which I think is common ground, exactly what the American public expects us to do. We can get this done this week. Hopefully the Senate will pass and we can take it up on the floor of the House. With that, we'll open up for questions. Yes, Mr. Wall.
Mr. Leader, by canceling next week's GOP retreat at the Green
Didn't
Rise-
cancel, postponed.
postponing it, does that suggest that you don't believe the government will be back open by next week?
Well, looking at the actions of the Speaker where she says no to proposal before the president even speaks gives me great concern. Looking what the Democrats are doing on the floor, just playing politics with what they bring up instead of actually solving the problem. I hope it can get done right now. But I think with all the planning that it takes, I think it's proper for us to postpone it and do it in the next quarter. Yes.
Leader McCarthy, thank you. On Monday, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez compared the threat of climate change to the threat the world faced from Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan during World War II. Are the two comparable?
No, not at all.
Should she apologize?
She can use her own language, what she wants to do. What we went through in World War II, the individuals who were being murdered and slaughtered just for their own faith, what the battle we did with the Axis, battling for the freedom of the world, what America rose to the occasion with many millions of others, I think does not hold in comparison. I think it's important that we deal with what's going on in our environment, and we shall, but I do not believe it rises to the same occasion. Yes?
Leader McCarthy, could you talk about the latest thinking of where the president could hold the State of the Union address if it's not in the House chamber?
I think it should hold in the House chamber just as it's done for generations before us. I think any indication not to hold it into the chamber is wrong on the Speaker's behalf. I think the idea that you would ask the president to move in a time that we've watched in the past, it doesn't matter what crisis America had in the past, that we were able to still have a State of the Union. It didn't matter if there was a different party between a Speaker and a President, we still had the State of the Union inside those chambers. It didn't matter that we were shut down, that we could actually swear in Congress inside those chambers. We should give the same respect to the office of the presidency instead of putting politics before the American public. I think it would actually, if we were still, God forbid, in a shutdown at that time, help us solve the problem as well.
I've heard that there are some alternative locations, including at the border. Is that something that you think the president would consider?
I think the very best place to have it is in the U.S. House of Chambers. Yes?
Do you think you should still go through with the State of the Union, even though the Speaker's obviously not letting him, but the White House is pretty much assured that they plan to go for it on the 29th?
Yes, I think the Speaker asking not to have the State of the Union is playing politics. I think we are better than that. I know the country is better than that. And we should have respect for both offices. We should hold the State of the Union inside the House chambers, just as we've done time and before, just as we've done when there's been a Republican Speaker and a Democratic President or vice versa. This is no time to play politics. This is an opportunity actually to solve problems and hear from the President.
Last one.
Yes.
What will House Republicans do if both Senate measures fail on Thursday? What's the plan after that?
Well, that's a hypothetical. I'm hopeful that it passes. I mean, it's very difficult from the idea that Speaker Pelosi, the #1 issue for the longest speech in the House chambers was to deal with DACA. You have an opportunity to deal with it. You have an opportunity to deal with border security. You have opportunity to open up the government. If, for chance, that does not happen in the Senate, I think the leadership should stay here over the weekend and solve the problem. It would not take a long deal. I believe the President is correct when he says it's 45 minutes or less to solve this problem. I have not heard yet from Speaker Pelosi what is her legislative idea to find common ground and solve the problem. I've heard from a lot of her own members, from her own ag chairman, Give Trump the money. From the freshmen, get in the room. So it's not just others saying it, it's our own conference. So I think we should have a scheduled meeting if whatever happens within the Senate. If it passes in the Senate, we take it up on the floor. If for some reason it doesn't pass in the Senate, we get together all the leadership and we solve this over the weekend. Thank you so much.